the other signing that we had that you just wanted to leave off. Chaz Green. Now, I'm glad. I found it funny yesterday, right? I remember when I first dropped the Melvin, we dropped the Melvin film session. I was like, oh, this is crazy. Let's do it, man. People are loving it, right? And shout out to everybody that has watched that, man. And if you haven't checked it out, go look at it, man. Just, breaking down tape of Melvin so you can see what he looks like on film last year versus in 2019 and what he brings to the Steelers. But man, I just lost my train of thought. I was looking at this chat and I saw Deke is the next Slash, and it just killed me. I'm just like, yo, y'all gotta stop this, man. And I just thought of you instantly as like Cordell Stewart 10, and you back there, oh, I'm a fake punt, I'm gonna run it. Yeah. And then I just saw you getting hit like Pat White did. Yeah. That's just in my mind. And it just right in the middle of me thinking about what I was gonna say when that happened, I went there and I just totally lost my train, bro. I'm just like, all right, I get it back later.
You're talking about the Melvin Ingram film session. You're like, I find it interesting.
Oh yes, because with Chaz, yes. So here it is. So everybody was crazy hype on Melvin, and then instantly everybody went crazy hype on Chaz initially. It's like, yo, we got this tackle, like we good to go. That's what we talking about, man. Kobe, we trust. And then I feel like when people started to Google Chaz and actually like look into it a little bit, I felt like they changed their opinions of him a little bit, man. And I could hear it from you too.
No, here's the thing. Why were people's opinions so high to begin with, though?
Because it came right on the heels of the Melvin Ingram signing.
Like right afterwards.
And everybody just assumed that, oh, yeah, man, this dude is on that same like class, that same pedigree. And as soon as I saw the name, I instantly was just like, I know this guy. I know him really well. This is a guy that we all know as edge rushers. A guy that we typically... Yeah, when you get that opportunity to face him, that's when you go up there and you say, thank you. This is why I go to church. This is why I would do communion. This is why, if we had to pray 5 times, like whatever it is, like this is why you do that for that matchup. And in all seriousness, man, he with Chaz, depth player for certain, has had good moments, but has had his bad moments really be magnified, if that makes sense. In terms of
you could YouTube them in like the first 3 or 4 vids, you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah, so you have a couple for him, man. When you're a young player, right? We always talk about you have bad plays. We all have that. We all go through that, and we all talk about how we go through growing pains. But for some of us, like in my example, when I went through my growing pains, I was kind of hidden in the defense. It wasn't a touchdown that was given up. It wasn't a crazy historic record-breaking performance when I was out there. So it kind of goes under the radar. And then by the time you catch up and you become a good player, well, now nobody remembers those plays. For Chaz, though, he had one of those record-breaking performances against him. And then from there, he never really got a chance to redeem himself. And when he did get another opportunity, it kind of showed up again. Now, he has improved. I will say he has improved. And I'll do a film session on him to kind of show his growth. But what we're talking about, for just full context, is not a shot at him. Adrian Claiborne, right? With the Atlanta Falcons. He had never been a double-digit 10-plus sack guy. It was kind of just a 4 to 7 in that range pass rusher, which is still a good player, but just wasn't elite. They're playing the Cowboys down in Atlanta. And I think it was Tyron Smith that was supposed to play, but he ends up not being able to play, right? So Chaz Green gets this start. And in the game, Adrian goes out and he gets not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 sacks in one game on Chaz. So that's why the negative has followed him a lot since then. And when he's had other opportunities, hasn't always performed to the best of his ability. But I do think if you're bringing him in here to compete with Zach, I like that a lot. Because this is a guy that is a 4-year veteran. He's been a part of some good lines in terms of Dallas. Even though he wasn't starting there, he's seen what a good line looks like. So he understands that part. But for me, Zach should win this. It shouldn't be close. But I just like the fact that it's not handed to Zach. Remember, we've talked about that. We said, man, even with Highsmith, right? Now, not saying they needed to sign Melvin, but we were just like, man, we don't like it when a person is just handed a starting spot when they haven't really had to prove it, nor are they a high pedigree first round draft pick either. We want to see guys have to compete a little bit. Chaz will at least give Zach legitimate competition from the simple premise of it's a legitimate NFL player. Not a starter, but a legitimate NFL player. So for me, I'm like, as long as Zach goes out there and does what he does and he's healthy, it shouldn't be a discussion. Chaz will be the extra O-lineman, swing tackle, or whatever. He'll be in that type of conversation. And in that role, I think he'll be fine. But Zach should definitely win. This isn't a situation where I anticipate Chaz coming in and being a starter for us, man, because he's just at this stage right now. He's still young. He's 4 years in right now. So he's still very young. But just at this stage right now, he's not ready to be the guy at a tackle spot yet, man.
Yeah, I assumed right off the bat, I thought this was just a depth move. And I was wondering, because we brought in, so we didn't bring in maybe as much depth for the tackle position because we brought in the dude from Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
That was like our big signing earlier in the offseason.
But was that really considered a big signing?
No, what I mean, it's just in terms of like depth and stuff. That's the only guy I remember in terms of tackle.
Yeah.
Because then we also had Rashard Coward. Drafted Dan Moore.
Yep.
So I guess there was room to bring in an extra tackle for depth, but we were thinking the whole time we bring in a dude that's like could be a legitimate starter. We were talking about like Morgan Moses and then some of the other dudes that are out there.
And
right
that's
now.
the guy that a lot of like the NFL analysts and like insiders, they're still just scratching their heads behind the Steelers with that about them not going after a guy like Morgan when you saw what he signed for and obviously how good of a player he was.
3.5,
right?
Something like that.
Yeah. So that was the thing. They're still just kind of like they don't get that part at all. But I mean, it is what it is. Now we can't go back in time, but yeah, dude.
That's the thing. They may be high on Zach.
No, they are high on Zach.
They have to be.
They have to be, absolutely. I mean, all the moves that they've done this offseason have said that they're very high on Zach, but not just Zach. It says they're high on Chooks. They didn't take a tackle in the first two. They waited. Think about it. 4th round, right? The first 4th round pick at least, but it was still in the 4th round when they took Dan Moore. So I feel like they think that they're very confident in these tackles. Obviously, they wanted to address center, which they did a little bit earlier with Kendrick. But yeah, everything they've said, and I just hope it pays off, man. That's the thing, because if it does, the skill positions are there. That's not a question. That's fine. But if you can't protect, if you can't give Ben a little bit more time than 2 seconds, baby, or if he got to try to run around back there, that's gonna be an issue, man. That's gonna be an issue because what I thought about was the way our offense is set up, right? It reminded me of Kansas City in the Super Bowl. I said, man, Kansas City in the Super Bowl, they had Patrick Mahomes, right? Elite quarterback. I know in Pittsburgh, some people will say, oh, Ben's not elite. I know some people will say he is elite. But either way, he's at least a really good quarterback, right? We can all agree upon that. So you have that part. Wide receiver. We have plenty of wide receiver weapons and tight end weapons. The Kansas City Chiefs have plenty of weapons at wide receiver and tight end as well. Running back. We got Najee Harris. They got Clyde. We got running backs.
I think we got one up on them on the running back.
But check it out. This is the biggest issue, though, right? The offensive line. When their offensive line was hurt going into the Super Bowl, none of that mattered because what did Mahomes have to do to get the ball off in any time? He had to run back like 10 yards and then do something crazy, just astronomical. And now, granted, he was making it work, and you really got a chance to see his athletic ability and why he is so gifted. But even in that game, they still lost. And that was the thing that I was thinking of with our offense. If our offensive line can't be at least average, if they look like how Kansas City's did, we're going to have major issues. All that talent around us isn't going to matter. And that's the part for me where I'm just like, God, I hope these dudes are right, because I wouldn't have hedged my bet like that. I would have been on the other side of, I might rather have a little bit less talent outside, but make sure this O-line is straight and ride with 7, because I think that he can still do these things if he's given time. So we'll find out, man.
You know I'm feeling good about it. At least for us to get up to average. And I'm liking the defense too. I think the biggest question mark probably on both sides is offensive line, and now all of a sudden it's cornerback for the defense. What else do we have?
Yeah, definitely corner.
That's about it.
Yeah. I would say corner.
And we're just saying, hey, if those dudes do step up, we made all the right moves then. Like if Pierre, Cam Sutton, these dudes step up and play how we think, or at least the people that are optimistic think they're going to be, looks amazing.
It's just a lot of ifs. That's all.
Just only those two position groups, though, right now.
Nah, that's a lot of ifs. It's a lot of ifs.
But we've gone back and forth about this. I just don't think it could get worse on the offensive line. The cornerback thing is that's the one thing. We did have Steven Nelson. We had Mike Hilton. Those are some big shoes to fill, I think.
Yeah. All right.
I think
say it can get worse.
I think Cam's up for it, though. I think Pierre Islands is going to be a thing.
I really hope it is.